Hello and good morning. Welcome to Monday. Yes, indeed, the start of a new week. And yes, it is episode 2 of In Conversation with Alan. And I have a fantastic guest for us to chat to today. So stay tuned. I think it's time to roll those credits. Yes, it's a very good morning to you. How are you today? Hopefully, you had a nice weekend and you're all set up for this week. Yes, and welcome to another In Conversation with Alan, where each week we bring on one of the leading digital and marketing and social media, all things digital experts. And today is no exception. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. And if you are watching this on the replay, do let us know that you are watching and where you're watching from. So stick it in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, and we will look delighted to have your company. Today, I'm going to be joined by Joanne Sweeney, and Joanne is a skilled broadcast journalist. She's a PR practitioner, an author, speaker, an expert digital marketer, and a Google trainer. She takes a 360-degree view of communications. She is privileged to be working with governments, international political organizations, National Health Service, police forces, media companies, and digital transformation. On digital transformation. And she is the author of the critically acclaimed books, The State of Social Media in the Public Sector Report, and also one of the best books that I've read in the last 2 to 3 years, I'd say at least. It is, of course, the Public Sector Marketing Pros book. And she also has a professional diploma course in social media for government and for the public sector. And she's the host of JSB Talks Digital podcast as well. So I am absolutely delighted to introduce you to the one and only Joanne Sweeney. How are you, Joanne?
Good morning from the west of Ireland. Are you well?
Oh, we're wonderful, wonderful. It's a lovely sunny day here. So, yes, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today. It's a pleasure to have you. I haven't seen you in ages. We should have met up only a couple of weeks back at the public sector conference, which you do every year, and I've been very proud and honoured to be part of that thing. But of course, with COVID striking, well, we won't go into that, but it will happen. I'm presuming it's going to be happening again soon. So how are you, Joanne?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, I've been locked down in Galway. It's probably about 15 weeks now. So March 12th was my very last meeting with clients in Dublin, and after that our country closed. So, we all had to pivot, right? We all had to rethink how we were delivering our services, engaging with clients, and also rethinking what they needed from us. So I've been doing that and really getting stuck into that and not letting panic or overwhelm take over. So I'm well, thank you.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of months for I think everyone has sort of had to, I suppose, pivot and change and try and readapt and develop new different ways, I suppose, of doing work. And it's been absolutely crazy when you think about it. But I've been sort of watching all of the great stuff that you've been doing over the last few months, and you've really, really helped so many people with regards to even the digital marketing, especially for governments and public sector bodies as well, with regards to, getting the message out there and how they can do it and what they should be looking at. So maybe we might talk about that, because I know as much as sort of lockdown is sort of, well, it's sort of over. We can't really say it's fully over, but what are some of the things that you would say to people, especially to obviously government and public sector bodies, about social media and how they get their message across?
Well, we all have been given more time. I call it like a weird gift. And also from a public sector and government point of view, they are managing a global pandemic. The first in my lifetime, and so it's a first for many of those people working in the front line of government and public sector. So what they have been doing and what they continue to need to do is to make sure that they have open and transparent lines of communications going to the public. Because as you know, there is no vaccine or medical intervention right now for coronavirus. And what we are relying on is we're relying on the people to adhere to public health guidance. And not just over the past kind of 15 weeks, but as we can see, as we release the restrictions, as we ease the restrictions, as we go through the phases in our roadmaps right across the world, there is fear and always the danger of that second wave. And I know our government here in Ireland have said to us that personal responsibility is king. And yes, it absolutely is. But people need leadership, and people need clarity. They need consistency in messaging, and social media has really come into its own. Now, I talk about in that book that you mentioned, social media snobbery, and it is a thing, and I'm sure you've encountered it as well.
Yeah.
Where people have, they look down their nose on social media. They're, they don't respect it or value it. But in actual fact, social media use has gone up hundreds of percent since COVID-19. It's allowed us as citizens of states to keep in contact with family, friends, but also to have the news and the trusted information come into our lives through our smart TVs, our smartphones, through our smart players. And that has helped us and has kept us focused and give us that sense of security that we needed during what has been a crazy time.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think it has, and it had I suppose I was talking on a show in the States only there about 2 weeks ago, and we were actually talking about that. And I was saying, we look at 10 years ago, we look at 15 years ago. If this had happened, how it would have been impossible, one, to even stay connected, because we had no way of doing that. Well, I suppose we have the types of Zoom and Skype and all them good stuff, but especially with social media, the way we're so connected now, and we've become, I suppose, a global village that we're now able to see. We're able to see what's going on in the world, what's happening, and as well as that, especially, I've noticed, especially over the last couple of weeks, that social media has become so powerful in getting messages out there. And just like even with the types of, say, the chief health officers and all, even our ministers and stuff like that it's been pushed out. Like, I seen Simon Harris, I think it was the second day after lockdown, where he went onto Twitter and he was talking all about, and to be able to reach an audience like that and give them, and I suppose it's in the place where they are most likely to be. And I know you talk about that, there's a huge part of what you do is speaking about that.
Yeah, and Simon Harris, our former Minister for Health, and now our new Minister for Higher Education, Research and Innovation. Simon is a great example of the power of daily updates and using Twitter. And from Simon's updates, you see they're not scripted. He's giving you kind of almost like a monologue of what happened in the day, who he's been speaking to, what decisions are being taken, why those decisions are being taken. So we're totally informed, and that's building.
Oh, we've lost the link there. We've just sort of, she hopefully will come back, because we are, as always, it's live there, so we might try and see if we can get it back. But I do have, there she is now. She's back. You were
sorry, the line dropped.
The line dropped, yes. So sorry, go ahead. Where were you? You were talking there.
Yeah, so with Simon Harris as an example of a public figure and a politician who is communicating with us every day, he's telling us why government are taking decisions, and that helps us then to trust that.
I understand. I think what Joanne's saying there it's trust. I suppose is, oh, there you are, you're back again. We're just having
Sorry.
but it's all just a little bit of technical difficulties. But look, we'll muddle through. We'll get on through it as well. But I do believe that it's very true that with the government and with our ministers saying, given this information, that it helps us to see and understand as well, because there was a lot of confusion as well at the start. I know when I was out and about the first weekend, it was like it was just like a ghost town. Everyone, like, I was looking after my father and stuff like that, so I was traveling back and forth within the distance, but at the same token, it was great to be able to go on social media and say, right, okay, I need to find out about this. Where do I go? And I actually even set up a Twitter list with all of the actual ministers and all of the government bodies and all that. And I found that was invaluable to just keeping up to speed on everything.
Yeah, sorry, my line dropped a few times there, Alan. What can we do? Sometimes it's the broadband in the west of Ireland. But you know what? I think that public figures and politicians and even civil servants within our governments are now realizing that social media can be their best friend. I understand that they are conservative, they're very considered in terms of their use of digital communication, but COVID-19 has taught us so many lessons, right? Not even in our personal life, but also in our professional life. And we really need the public to trust and believe in our leaders, but we need our leaders to show leadership and to take action. And that leadership is only demonstrated by visibility. Like, we're showing up here today on Monday morning on LinkedIn Live. Wouldn't it be great to see other public sector and government leaders talking about the economy, talking about the recession that we're going through, explaining what their plans are, taking questions live from entrepreneurs and employees who are on this platform? And the media serve a really important role in terms of being guardians of the truth and being that independent voice. But now we can go directly to the people as well as leveraging the media. So I think competency and competence are the two C's that government and public sector need right now. And that comes with buy-in. It also comes with upskilling. And it also looks at industry best practice, not just within your own country, but look at what other government and public sector agencies are doing right across the world. Because we know the line, we're in it together. We are in it together, not just as a country, but as a one world, one shared earth. We're all in it together. And we can see that our physicians and our researchers and our academics are collaborating right now. It's like a global hackathon. So we had like 4.3 million euro allocated to the higher education sector, Trinity College Dublin, in the past week, where we have researchers there collaborating with other researchers around the globe to try and find out why particular people suffer from coronavirus and are impacted more greatly than others. So this is a real global effort. And so lots of lessons to be learned, but this transparency piece and this open and digital comms piece is really important.
And have you found that there has been a lot more visibility from, our ministers and from our health officials and like, I've seen it to a certain degree, but it wouldn't be the area that I would be focusing on, but I know you have extensive knowledge in this. That have you found that they are more so doing this? They're starting to come to fund. I know when I remember doing the first public sector conference with you, and I was just blown away by the types of, say, the DAA, the An Garda Síochána, all of these different, I suppose, government bodies and public sector bodies that were actually really, really insightful in the way they were using social media and all forms, I suppose, of digital marketing. But have you noticed that there has been a massive shift over the last couple of months?
Yeah, absolutely, Alan. And sometimes we don't give our public sector enough credit for being innovative and creative, but they actually are. They're just more cautious than us in the private sector. And what you have found during COVID is that government bodies are actually turning on new social networks literally overnight. They're making decisions in real time. And prior to COVID, these decisions might have taken 6 to 12 months in terms of making a decision whether to turn on TikTok, to join Instagram, to join Snapchat. And we've seen our own health service executive in Ireland here join TikTok as well, and leveraging that platform. I've had Alexandra Kamenovich on my own public sector marketing show, and she would have said that they leveraged every single social network because they knew to combat the infodemic, that is fake news, and the conspiracy theories around COVID-19, that they really needed to get their message to the people. And she also said that the social networks were very forthcoming and reached out to them. Dr. Mike Ryan, who is from the west of Ireland, I think 3 counties in Ireland are claiming him right now, Galway, Mayo. We love to do that in Ireland, right?
He's ours. No, he's not. He's mine.
So he's head of the emergency teams of the World Health Organization and has a vast experience in pandemics. But there was one particular video that I saw on Twitter that really summed it up for me. And he said, I really need to thank our media and social media teams. They are the real heroes that are operating behind the scenes, but on the front line as we battle this infodemic. They are as important as our frontline healthcare staff, because in the absence of a vaccine, we need the people to know the truth and to follow the public health guidance. And I think that people who work in social media might now finally get the respect that they deserve. We have a lot of citizen journalists out there, people who have their own opinion and who are sharing it, and we're all influenced by other people and not just official public figures. But when our leaders do not lead from the front online, it creates a vacuum. And with a vacuum, this is the area where the virus of fake news and misinformation has a nice breeding ground, and it spreads. And so, I speak openly about this. I truly believe that organizations that do not optimize their content, that do not consistently publish the truth and their subject matter expertise, are actually players in the problem of fake news because they are associated by their absence. And that sounds very harsh, but I understand how the internet works. And, working with Google, and they own YouTube, they would have very much have said that over the years, as they watched the phenomenon of the influencer and the YouTuber gain momentum and gain millions of subscribers, people from their bedrooms, right? All over the world, they had that opportunity because people were searching the internet. We are hungry for information. We want more information, not less. And when fact-based information isn't there, people will still access information, but from the sources who are creating the content, because content is a commodity that is owned by anyone willing to create it. And you and I know this because we commercialize it, right?
Yeah. Totally. And I would totally agree. As you say, as you say, if you're not showing up and if they're not sharing it, well, we're led to believe other different aspects. And that, as you say, is where that false news comes and false information comes. Whereas if they are actually out on the front line and actually sharing this information, that we actually are getting it from, I suppose, the source. And that's the real thing. If we have any questions, for Joanne, please do put them into the chat. We would love to hear. We just say hello to a few people. Mark Manning from Talent Voice is in. We also say hello to Peter Byrne is in as well. Jason Cooper, Wendy Stunt. Wendy was on with us last week. We have Barbara Nolan and also Bridget Stapleton. And Bridget has, she just put up there, I cannot believe how busy we are at this time with social media. I say it's because of its health and wellness. I'm delighted to say that we have given 80,000 euros to send products to the frontline workers, which is fantastic. Totally commendable. Bridget, thanks for sharing that with us. But as I said, it's unbelievable to see. You know what I noticed as well, especially when with regards to this, and I want to talk about public sector as a whole. That like just throughout this crisis, the outpouring of friendship, of goodwill, of helping out, it's just been phenomenal. I have never seen anything like it over the years, and I'd be a real, I suppose, in a sense, lurker, but I'd be watching everything to see what's happening. And I just find it's phenomenal. It's absolutely fascinating to see the way people have come together. With regards to public sector bodies, and I know you work with so many different bodies within the public sector and the government, but where do you see that, I suppose, the best use of social media can be used by government bodies who are actually maybe on a local level that are not implementing strategies and stuff like that? What would be your advice to them?
So I've done the study, The State of Social Media, which analyzes government and public sector accounts. So I did the 2018 study in Ireland, and I did the 2019 study in 3 eastern states of Australia. So what I've learned from doing that is that local on Facebook trumps everything. Because Facebook locally is like your local newspaper combined with your local radio station, and that's where we go for local news. Obviously, in terms of Twitter, corporate communications needs to live on Twitter for government and public sector. We don't just need corporate accounts. We need their leaders to be there in their own right with their own personal Twitter accounts, being the voice of the organization. A great example, an Irish example, is Paul Reid, who's the CEO of the Health Service Executive, came into that new role, and then within months he was facing a global pandemic. But the one thing I've noticed about Paul, and I haven't spoken to him, right? This is my external independent opinion, is that the man has the ability to connect with people. And he's humble and solemn. And at one stage when we were going through the peak in this country, he said, I know that right now my job is to win the hearts and minds of the people and to win their trust. And I got goosebumps, and I went, yeah, he is so intuitive to what his role is. You know, we were doing well, we have done well, we're still not over, the pandemic is still here. But he knew that every single day he needed to be showing up and speaking to us and answering questions. And he's very good at answering questions very openly. So his personality and his commitment to embracing social has really shone through. The HSE also had their weekly live stream and their media conference on a Sunday that was broadcast then through RTE, our national broadcaster. And that commitment to openness and transparency and taking the questions is really, really important, because I was watching it on Facebook Live, right?
Yeah.
It was getting my National Health Service leaders in there. Then you think about TikTok, right? And there's lots of conversations about TikTok as a channel, ownership, the data that they can get. I know it's been banned in some countries because of the fear of data protection. But this is getting a different audience and a younger audience, because what we're seeing about the channels, what you've got to understand about the channels is they all have their own features and functionality. They're all there to entertain and to inform, but it's how the type of content changes, right? So Snapchat had stories, Instagram modeled their own stories on Snapchat. Then we have TikTok, which is short video, right? And it's music and it's dance and it's kind of performance based, but we're now drawn into different types of content. And so content creation and that ability to be creative, to communicate your message is really important. But with everything, it's like you either need the entertainment factor, which is the first D, or the second D, which is emotion. And I think from a government and public sector point of view, they need to draw towards the emotion as opposed to the entertainment.
Yeah, definitely.
Because humor and entertainment is very subjective, and it's a serious business, especially now during COVID. So you need to have that sense of seriousness, but also to have that sense of we're approachable and you can ask us questions.
And I think that's the other thing, and that's a key factor is that we're approachable, and that you can reach us, that you can talk to us. And I think that's because, it's like, as I always say, it's the the boss on the top of the hill that you never get to, that, or the top of the building that you never ever get to see inside that office. Whereas now we are seeing, the types of our, the Leo Varadkars, the Simon Harps, that, all of these, even, Dr. Tony Houlihan, and just how close you are to them. Like, I know every day for since the pandemic started, when they used to do the live update at whatever it is at 5:30, and you'd be glued to it to see what the information was. And then they brought it online, which was even better again, because you weren't sort of saying, oh well, I have to go and watch the television. We're now able to see it across the digital channels. And as you say, I would agree totally, it's about being emotive with regards to, I suppose, public sector and government bodies and stuff like that. Obviously there is a certain amount of injection of fun, but I think for the time that we're in, I think it's more emotive than anything. And they have been doing that extremely well. No, I do. I think it's really, really interesting to especially get your take on it, because I like, I'm a huge fan of the Joanne. I have been for many years, and we've known each other for many, many years now at this stage of the game. So it's been absolutely brilliant to have you on, and to be here with you, as you say, on your first LinkedIn Live. So yes, hopefully
about that, because LinkedIn Live is being kind of given to the few and not the many in Ireland. When did you get it, and how did you get it? I've made an application, but I'm probably in somebody's inbox and I'm waiting. So how was it for you?
Well, no, in fairness now, I did apply for it, and I applied for it, it must be 3 months ago, so I didn't hear. But I know they have given it out to a good, I've seen a few other colleagues that have actually started to get it over the last week or so. So I would say you're probably in there. But how I just, to be honest, I applied for it. But what I did, I had Brian Schulman on the podcast a couple of weeks I suppose about 6 or 8 weeks ago. It was only released, whatever, last week or the week before. But he had said the best way to do it is to start commenting and start interacting on other live videos, and then show them the work that you're doing on the other live platforms. And in that way, they see, because and I love the idea of the way they're doing this, the way they're rolling it out, that they're not just giving it to everybody. They're being very subjective in the way that the process is, because obviously they're trying to, they want to have the right content that's going to be on the platform. And, it's you have to show up and show them what you're doing to make them see. So I was like Christmas morning when I got the email about 2 weeks ago, and I went, right, I'm going straight on. Because I had this idea, this in conversation with Alan for a good few months, and I was going to be putting it out on Facebook. Now we are casting as well on Facebook, so if you are watching it, and then we will put it on YouTube. But I thought LinkedIn is where I want to be, because as you know, that's my platform of choice, and it's where I spend most of my time, and really wanted to be able to bring really good, meaningful conversations to the platform as well, and share great content. So it's been really good. So yeah, fingers crossed, Joanne, you will have it. I guarantee you. Yeah, I'd say give you 2 weeks and you'll have it.
Well, congratulations on your show, and absolutely right. LinkedIn is my platform of choice, and I come from a radio background, so it brings me back to my radio days. But we can just see each other, so well done on jumping right on. You didn't procrastinate. You took the opportunity, and you're showing up every Monday at 11. That's your time slot.
Yeah, well, what we're going to be doing is we're going to have 2 time slots. So as I said last week, that when we have like Irish guests and European guests, we're going to do the 11 a.m. slot. But for international guests, so if we have some guys coming in, like I have a few guests coming in from the States now over the next few weeks, so that'll be at 3 o'clock. So we don't get them up in the middle of the night type of thing. So we've sort of going to push it to 3 o'clock. But it's been absolutely fantastic to have you on here with me today. It's great to see you as well. It's great.
I know. I mean, we're missing human interaction, right? So while we've all been moaning the fact that we're zoomed out of it, Zoom has been a very good friend to us because it's
big time.
To get as close as we possibly can with other people. And I definitely think that video makes a vast difference, right, to any other form of content and to have that interaction. So, but thank you for having me on. Thrilled.
Brilliant stuff. And Barbara Nolan has a fantastic, the M Space out in Malahide. If you are around, guys, in Malahide, check it out. Fantastic. And she says it has been truly amazing, but more connected than ever. Deeper and more real connections. And she also said, thank you, Joanne. That was super and well said. It's fantastic achievement, Alan, to get a LinkedIn Live. Thanks for that, Barbara. Joanne, before we go, how can people reach out and get in contact with you if they want to find out more and talk with you?
Well, obviously, I'm on LinkedIn as Joanne Sweeney, and you can happily DM me. You can also go to publicsectormarketingpros.com, and my new diploma in social media for government and public sector is starting. July, there's been great interest, and it is fully accredited. It's fully aimed at government and public sector, all about social media and public interest messaging. And you also get access to my social media learning hub for a full 12 months. So it's a 6-week course, an assignment, but then you have access for the full year and be part of our community. So yeah, I'm pretty passionate about it, right? I feel like a bit of a nerd. I always say I love shoes and, I love food, but I don't want to market them. As a former journalist, I guess, I love the hard news, getting to the heart of government and public sector and elevating the standard of digital comms, because, Alan, the world needs the truth right now more than ever.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. Brilliant stuff. And as we have a link down there, so it is public sector marketingpros.com is where you'll find all the detail. And don't forget to connect as well with Joanne across all of the social networks and follow her content, because it's always so intuitive and so entertaining, and it just speaks the facts. There's no if, buts, or maybe. She tells you as it is, and she knows what she knows. She is one of the best. One I admire, and as you can see, I have. Oh gosh! But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today. And don't forget to join us next week, when I have a good friend of yours actually is on with us next week, Victoria Taylor from so Vicky Taylor's on with us next Monday for our In Conversation. Joanne, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and we wish you continued success. And we will see each other soon. We'll make it. We'll make it. Whether if I get to Galway or you get to Dublin, but we will connect soon. Alrighty. So once again, thanks for coming on today and sharing some really, really fantastic information and insights with us. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye. So let me just whip and change these. Let me see. There we go. We just get rid of that. So there you go. Absolutely fantastic chat there with Joanne. And as I said, if you do want to get in contact with her, it is the publicsectormarketingpros.com is where you find out all the information. And we thank you for joining us today, and have a absolutely fantastic week. And as I said, next week, don't forget to join us. We will be talking to Victoria Taylor right here on the In Conversation with Anna. So until next week at the same time, it's very hard to do all of this work when you're on your own. Okay, so guys, have a great week. Until next time, have a great week, and I shall talk to you soon. Remember, be social.